This is One-on-One. Merrill Brown is director of the School of Communication and Media at the great Montclair State University. Good to see you, Merrill.
Good to be here, Steve.
Before you came to Montclair State, you've had a fascinating background. Admit this. Washington Post. Help MSNBC.com become a reality. Help start up Court TV and many other things.
All true.
How did Montclair State get you?
It's an interesting school at an interesting moment in time with an interesting business and academic model. It's close to New York City. It's in a great community of media professionals. All of it came together at the right point in time for me personally.
Yeah, Dr. Susan Cole, our good friend and partner up there, has been talking about this for a long time. We talked to Dan Gerskis about this, the dean up there, from the campus. And we should also disclose that our partners at NJTV Nightly do NJ Today out of one of the many initiatives going on in your program, in your school, is the NJ Today comes out of Montclair State.
A great opportunity for students, absolutely.
Yeah, what is that connection? Describe that for us, because that's a piece of a larger equation, but what is it?
We have a center at the school that brings together both hyperlocal and regional media from throughout New Jersey, a relationship with WNET, which produces
Sure.
NJTV, relationship with WNYC Radio in New York, which produces NJPR. They do work out of our campus with our students and faculty. And then we have a bunch of other partners who are part of a collaborative setting there, so media can work together both with students and faculty.
That's amazing stuff. The program, the school that you're leading, is different from so many others, journalism or media programs. And in many ways, you're preparing students for a world, a communication and media world that is changing dramatically. 5 years ago, 10 years ago, this would not have existed.
That's right. The impact of digital media in both disrupting and in many ways revitalizing the world we live in permeates everything we're doing and changes the whole education paradigm. Everybody needs to understand how these media intersect. And it's trite to say convergence, but we're trying to make sure that we're teaching people how they need to be engaged in all these different forms of media.
For example, Merrill, give us an example. A student today who graduates has to be able to do what?
Has to be able to think about prose and text, has to be able to frame a shot with a still camera or a film camera, needs to be able to understand how to use social media as both a marketing and reporting tool, needs to be able to think about software applications and how they make journalism on the web better. Every piece of that is critical to getting people into the job marketplace.
Devil's advocate, so much of what you're referring to is about technology. Technology is driving a lot of it. For those of us old school folks who grew up trying to learn the process of interviewing, and because I've taught at Montclair State at different points in time, one of the things that's always concerned me, and because you have an academic background as well as a very practical and successful background in media, I wonder if you think about this as well. Where is the place in all this for teaching some of the ethical issues, some of the more grounded issues of the historical context of what it is we are supposed to be doing in terms of getting information in a way that is credible, balancing information in terms of multiple sides of a story? Am I making any sense here?
You're making total sense. Look, our school is in its first year. Right. And one of the principles we're laying down is that you don't leave Montclair State without ethics and without the basics of journalism. Now, how you teach those basics of journalism in a multi-platform world isn't as simple as it once was. You went to a school like ours to become a print reporter or become a television reporter or producer. We can't simply do that because that's not enough in today's marketplace. But all of it has to be grounded on basic journalism and basic ethics and a sense of where journalism fits into public discourse. We're trying to get all that right.
And the faculty that you attract is so critical, right?
Totally critical. It's one of the reasons I do shows like this one, to get the word out so that we can attract the best people. And we do. People want to be at a different kind of institution that's not wedded to legacy traditions, but is still steeped in journalism traditions. We have New York and New Jersey at our doorstep, and we have this center, which we talked about a moment ago, is an entirely unique opportunity for faculty and students to actually produce media in the real world, if you will, rather than simply in an academic setting. That's a great opportunity to enhance people's careers.
They're actually producing it, aren't they?
Students are involved in NJTV. Students are working as interns for public radio. Students are working as interns for several different print publications throughout the region. And really a commitment to New Jersey is what a lot of that's about.
That's so interesting. Help me on this, Jackie. We got a young man who was a Montclair State student, did a documentary on his own, wound up with Mike Schneider, our partner. Was it Ryan's Heart? This young man, I don't know if you know about this young man, Ryan's Heart. You do know, of course you know. Did this documentary through the program, your program. Ryan Miller, right, that's his name, winds up doing this documentary. He gets a heart from a young man in another country who was a soccer player, lost his life, and incredible story. He winds up on NJTV. We see him, we bring him on, and I'm thinking he's a talented young journalist, storyteller, coming out of your program, who has a bright future, and he learned those skills through that program.
And was producing television meriting air and distribution at age 20.
Sorry to interrupt you, I'm sorry. At age
20. Extraordinary, yes. We love those stories.
And there are other students like that.
There are, and you and I can learn a lot from them. They know things we don't know. They have skills we don't have. And the collaboration between folks like us, faculty and students, is really an important part of our educational direction.
Much of your job, I imagine, for me, I mean, I love this part of the job. This is fun, meeting fascinating people, learning from fascinating people who have experiences that I don't have. This is I'm not gonna say the easy part, but the part I enjoy the most. I don't love raising money. Do you?
I love building businesses.
Okay,
and I think of this as another startup. Right. I've been involved, as you mentioned, in a number of startups, both traditional media and digital media.
Sure.
It's part of the fabric of what I do every day. Getting up in the morning to have another business development lunch isn't necessarily my favorite thing of the day. I'd rather be with students. But it's part of the job, and I understand it totally. And it really, because we're talking about people in the communication business,
sure,
it gives me an opportunity to stay current, getting out there with the business development part of it, the fundraising in my pocket.
It's so interesting. Bill Moyers once said one time, we were talking about this whole question about the business side, and he said, look, if you don't do the business, you don't get to do the other side.
Well, you know, so, Steve, one of the reasons the media one of the reasons the media business is in the perilous state it's in today is that not enough people live by that. We used to have a thing called church and state, and we think that should come together. You need to understand both parts.
Well, Merrill Brown helped us understand it. We'll have a continued conversation on the air and off.
One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation, celebrating 25 years of broadcast excellence. Funding for this edition of One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been provided by Investors Bank, the Russell Berry Foundation, Fedway Associates, Inc., PSE&G, committed to improving New Jersey's economy and strengthening its communities. New Jersey Manufacturers Insurance Group, auto insurance, homeowners insurance, and banking under the principle of stewardship. The law firm of GIBBONS, P.C. And by HealthFirst New Jersey. Promotional support provided by the Star Ledger and NJ.com, Everything Jersey. And by NJ Biz, All Business, All New Jersey. Transportation provided by Airbrook Limousine, serving the metropolitan New York, New Jersey area. One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been produced in partnership with St. Joseph's Healthcare System.